Boris Johnson says London cyclists are a bigger priority than hosting the start of the 2017 Tour de France. The mayor turned down the opportunity to stage the event following reports that last year's Grand Départ in Yorkshire resulted in losses of more than £1 million.
I think you've got to make a choice, and I'm very glad that London is obviously recognised as the world capital of sport and of cycling, but in the end, £35 million is a lot of money to spend on a one-off event when that could go into stuff that will really, 35 million could do an awful lot of cycle lanes, could do an awful lot of things that will save lives.
Will Glendinning organised London's Grand Départ in 2007, joins us now from central London. Thanks for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Has the mayor made the right decision?
It's a great shame, you know. I mean, 2007 was fantastic, but it's tricky. You know, major cities like London have to make these decisions every day about what sporting events they host, what they turn down, and it's tricky. I doubt it was just on money alone. I suspect other things were going on, but if it was turned down just on money, I think there's some serious questions about this insane figure of 27 million pounds that's being bandied around.
Why? How much do you think it might have cost?
Well, it certainly didn't cost that in 2007. It may have cost that last year in Yorkshire, but you know, all these major events are becoming an increasingly difficult problem with sort of the Olympics and World Cups and these major sporting events like the Tour de France. They're hugely political, and there's sort of committees upon organising committees and all the rest of it. And with that comes additional cost and complexity. And I think there has to be a stocktake at some point, otherwise it's going to be impossible to host any of these events.
As far as the mayor was concerned, actually, his figure was even higher than that. He said 35 million quid. He's quoted as saying the biggest cycling knot in the world. That's how he describes himself. But he said that in the end, chucking 35 million quid on a one-off event or putting that into long-term infrastructure improvements for cycling, stuff that will make cycling safer for decades to come, like the cycling superhighway, it's a no-brainer. He's got a point, hasn't he?
Well, he has, absolutely. I think £35 million or even £25 million for a one-off event is lunacy. I don't believe it would have cost that. I think there's some questions to be asked about, you know, where those numbers came from. You know, and £25 million, without a doubt, is better spent on long-term projects than a one-off event.
OK. Talk to us about what happened in 2007. What was the lead up to it? Why was it considered to be a good thing to do? And what was the benefit subsequently?
Well, I think you have to remember 2007 was a point in time. We'd just won the Olympics. We hadn't had the Olympics yet, or some of the road racing that had been seen. You know, so it definitely caught the sort of hearts and minds of London and of the nation. And I was lucky enough to be in one of the cars behind the peloton as it trundled down to Kent. And the roads were lined with people all the way. It was phenomenal. Now, I don't know if you'd capture that same sort of impact or same kind of a euphoria again, but it was definitely a point in time. I think there was a definite keenness to prove London could host these events leading up to 2012. And I think that moment has passed. I think it can still be impactful, but I think that was the beauty that the 2007 event had.
OK, now there were other cities in the United Kingdom that could have hosted the event. In the end, it was thought that London would be the best option. They've decided against it. Is it time, do you think, for people like Edinburgh and Manchester to have another look?
Well, I don't think Edinburgh or Manchester are going to be shy about coming forwards bidding for major sporting events, and I think they should. I think, you know, the whole of England, the whole of the UK is a great country, and there's, you know, as was proven last year in Yorkshire, the scenery was phenomenal, and these events can bring a great impact. It's a bit of a shame that if Yorkshire did lose £1 million last year, and I think that needs looking at, but there's no reason at all these events need to cost that amount of money, and I would encourage every city or any city to bid for these events if they want to. Did
you make money in 2007?
Me personally.
No, not you personally, but was money made?
Yeah, I think there's no dispute. I don't have the figures, but I think there's no disputing the impact it had on London and the southeast of England. I think the amount of impact can be debated, and it depends how you measure the figures. Yeah, but I think if you're going to spend 35 million, that impact gets reduced. But I think if you can reduce the cost of staging these events, which is more than possible, the impact can be much greater.
OK, thank you. Let's take you straight to the city while we're talking about money. Here's Tig.
Kay, thank you very much.